Now on Good Morning El Paso.
It was an ugly scene last night in San Jose, California. Demonstrators clashing with Donald Trump supporters outside his event. I'm ABC's Karen Travers with the latest coming up.
And the search continues this morning for several Fort Hood soldiers who are still missing after being swept away by floodwaters during a training exercise.
New video this morning showing the moments an officer was shot by a suspect before an hours-long SWAT situation.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC 7's Good Morning El Paso.
A Donald Trump rally in San Jose, California last night turning violent in a matter of minutes.
What began as a peaceful demonstration by Trump supporters quickly turning into chaos. Police gathered in the streets to try and get them to disperse, but the violence continued into the night.
We'll have more from California coming up in just a bit, but first,
a very good morning to you, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Juarez. I'm Stephanie Valle.
And I'm HillaryFloren. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Let's talk about the forecast and, of course, the warm-up.
Yes, and meteorologist Crystal Cly is here with our forecast. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, yes, and we made it to Friday. We are looking at a forecast that is very nice to start, but does get pretty toasty later today. Here's a look at some of our ABC 7 storm track weather net sites. We've moved around your location since the last hour. Right now, we're at 70 degrees right here at the KVIA studios, also right near 70 at the Texas Tech Health Sciences School, 70, 69 St. Pius School, and 67 at Rosa Guerrero Elementary. These temperatures that we're looking at right now going to be bumping up into the 90s by this afternoon. So we've been seeing 80s the last few days, which has been below average, but starting today we get to right around where we should be at this point in June, low mid 90s. As for your clouds and radar map, it's a clear one out there. No showers to track this morning. Not likely we'll see much later today either, but we do have some small chances. We'll talk about that with your day planner in just a couple minutes.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. The campaign trail last night marked by violence. Protesters smashed cars, threw eggs, and roughed up Donald Trump supporters at his event in San Jose, California. The clashes came as Trump and Hillary Clinton traded attacks, Clinton laying out some of her toughest criticisms yet. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest. It's your voice, your vote.
Overnight, violent clashes outside a Donald Trump rally. Demonstrators aggressively moving in on his supporters. It was some of the worst violence seen at a Trump event. Cars smashed, punches thrown.
They grabbed my Trump sign and started following me, saying I was like a racist.
Police eventually moving in to break up the crowds.
I do hereby declare this an unlawful assembly.
Several people were arrested. San Jose police say one of their officers was assaulted. Inside, Trump not letting up on Hillary Clinton.
She made a political speech tonight, folks, and it was a pretty pathetic deal.
That speech, a turning point for Clinton, her toughest attacks yet.
Donald Trump's ideas aren't just different, they are dangerously incoherent.
Clinton slammed Trump as reckless and said electing him would be an historic mistake.
It would set back our standing in the world more than anything in recent memory, and it would fuel an ugly narrative about who we are.
Trump on Thursday scored a new high-profile supporter, Paul Ryan, but the House Speaker's endorsement sounding more about stopping Clinton than signing off on Trump's agenda.
This, to me, is about saving the country and preventing a third progressive liberal term.
Hillary Clinton laid out her campaign strategy with these new attacks on Donald Trump. This is what she's going to keep coming back to. She's the one with experience. Trump is dangerous and cannot be trusted. It's a showdown that's only going to get more heated. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Army teams and other emergency crews continue to search along a Fort Hood creek for 4 soldiers still missing this morning. They disappeared after a truck overturned during a morning exercise on post yesterday. At least 5 soldiers were confirmed dead. 3 others are injured. The 3 soldiers that were rescued and hospitalized are told to be in stable condition.
New video this morning shows the moments an officer was shot by a man in California. We want to warn you that this video can be very disturbing, but has been censored. Now here you can see the officer telling the man to keep his hands up. Moments later, the officer is shot and falls to the ground, and the suspect flees the scene. The suspect, who's been identified as 44-year-old Gerald Villabril Jr. rushes back to the crime scene sometime later, pulls down a chunk of the fence, and then disappears into a neighborhood. And that is where a SWAT standoff occurred for hours yesterday. The house caught fire after tear gas was thrown inside by officers. Authorities later found the suspect dead in the home. One of the officers who was shot is in critical condition, and the other is in stable condition. The investigation is ongoing.
Meanwhile, thousands gathered at UCLA last night to pay respects to the professor who was shot and killed earlier this week. 39-year-old Professor William Klug was a husband and a father of two. He was shot Wednesday by former student Rainak Sarkar, who then committed suicide. Sarkar is also believed to have killed his estranged wife in Minnesota a few days earlier.
And back here in the borderland, a new community attraction is now open for the summer in the Lower Valley. But there are some concerns about how well it's working. And here's Good Morning El Paso's Andrew J. Polk live with these details. Andrew.
Yeah, good morning, Hillary and Stephanie. Bulldog Championship Park in Socorro now has its splash park up and running, well, for the most part anyway. Now, the splash park in the Bulldog Championship Park was open for the summer at the end of last month, but seems to be having some problems just a week later. Featuring sea creatures, water fountains, splash pads, and more, the splash park certainly looks like it has a lot to offer kids of all ages. Also has water features and shaded areas to offer relief from the heat for people just wanting to hang out and not get soaked. But with everything offered, it didn't seem like everything was fully working when our crews went to check it out. Some of the sea creature features were working, but only one of the splash pads in the ground was actually active. Now, residents we spoke with in the area at the pad says that it was disappointing. Some weren't sure if it was a water conservation measure or some other technical problem, but some told us that someone would be coming to look at it soon. Hillary and Stephanie?
All right, thanks so much.
And they're going to need that splash pad because it's going to be hot.
Yeah, a little giving away the forecast, right, Crystal?
Oh yeah, big time here. We're talking the heat on starting today, and then really it doesn't turn off for the next week or so. 8 a.m. we're at 71 degrees. At noon, forecasting already up to 86 degrees. And look at that, 94 your temperature by 4 p.m. 6 o'clock still in the low 90s. That means if you're like myself and you've got the black car, it's the time of year where it just starts to feel real scorching when you first get in. We do still have that lingering 10% chance of rain, although it's not looking likely. We will tap into any showers except maybe over higher elevations like near Rio. So light to breezy winds this afternoon. Otherwise, this is a beautiful forecast moving forward for your Friday. Here is where that slight chance of thunderstorms is possible. Again, primarily I think the focus will be over parts of Otero County, maybe Hudspeth, but we will leave in just a slight 10% chance. We will talk more about your weekend forecast coming up, but for now, let's send it over to traffic.
Thanks, Crystal, and good morning to you. Folks, it's National Donut Day, so if you're thinking about, can I go outside, can I get some donuts right before work and make it to work on time, things are looking really good for you across the borderland. Red to Executive, west to east, 6 minutes. Sunland Park to Zaragoza, 18 minutes. And downtown to Loop 375, 14 minutes. Those are perfect conditions for a donut run. And lastly, we'll take a look at our ABC7 text dot cameras, a live look. That's I-10 in Zaragoza. Things are looking really good. I have another update for you in 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Mauricio. And we do have an ABC7 traffic alert that we want to give you a heads up about. We can tell you that starting on Sunday, June 12th, in a little more than a week, Paisano will be completely closed. This is going to happen from Sunland Park down to Executive Center. And this closure is so crews can finish the road construction that's necessary for the Border West Expressway. The only way to get around this area is to use Mesa or Constitution Drive and follow those detour signs that will be in place. Now, the complete closure will last 8 months. Hillary?
That's going to be painful. We still have much more to come right here on Good Morning El Paso.
I first said to my son, I'm sorry for that I forced him to experience a very painful time.
A happy ending for parents who tried to punish their son, but it led to his disappearance. We have an update on the story this morning. We've been following the story all week. And damaging floods tearing apart homes and damaging crops. We'll take a closer look at damage left behind. This is ABC7, where news comes first.